listening to Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Aloha, America. Welcome to our show today here. And basically, we've got a lot to talk about today. I mean, there's so much crazy stuff going on. It's Wednesday the 9th. And you should have been here before the show actually started, because David and I were talking that it was, we both have iPhones. And we're dealing with this 13.1.2. And the more I work with this latest and greatest update of Apple iOS, the angrier I am getting. I'm reaching the point right now of literally going out on eBay and seeing if I can find an older iPhone that still runs iOS 12. Because you can't back rev it. Hang on a second, I have to send a message to the boss fella here. Okay, there we are. So, all right. It's very frustrating. I want things to be simple. I want to hold up a little phone, push a couple of buttons, get some work done. And I don't know what Apple was thinking, but they have made this thing just so difficult to use. And they change things just for the sake of changing things, like Apple Play. Apple Play was working fine. Why mess it up? All right. So anyway, let's get into the stories here, because there's a lot going on here, and obviously the vast majority of it has to deal with President Erdogan launching Operation Peace Spring, which consists of airstrikes targeting the Kurdish Syrians and killing 2 civilians after the U.S. troops withdrew. As Trump tweets, they should never have been there. And I would agree with that, except that I think the way that Trump is pulling out of this is going to cause a lot of geopolitical damage to this country. And I made that point earlier in the week. I mean, I want us out of all these wars. But again, look at what happened in Vietnam. When we pulled out of that, the damage to our country, to its reputation, to its image, to its trustworthiness, took a decade to get over. This is going to be exactly the same thing. Anyway, the phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. Mike is in our control room, ready to answer the phone when you call on in. Right now, the U.S. has cut Turkey's access to northeast Syrian airspace ahead of the military campaign. So basically, the U.S. has abandoned the Kurds. And that's the Kurds are upset about that. And anybody else that is currently dependent militarily on the United States, they're saying, there may be an issue here. Should we be friends with the United States of America here? Apparently, videos are already surfacing showing U.S. forces withdrawing from the key border areas in Syria. So they're out there with the cameras and getting everything done here. So it's just a huge mess. It's a huge mess, and my gut is telling me that it is going to spin completely out of control. Now, apparently, the Syrian army is deploying a large number of soldiers to Deir ez-Zor for a potential Euphrates offensive. Now they want to go over the Euphrates River, hence the rebridging of the Euphrates 2 weeks ago by the Russian Special Forces. So something is definitely happening there. All right, let's take a phone call. Nancy in California. Aloha, Nancy. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Mike, what reputation Does America have a good reputation with Biden going over and threatening Ukraine and with us invading country after country? We don't have any kind of reputation to protect. Our reputation was destroyed decades ago.
Well, I think you have a somewhat oversimplistic view. I mean, yes,
do
our
I?
reputation,
No,
our
not really.
our reputation isn't definitely in bad shape. Do we really want to make it worse, or do we want to try and
We
find
are not
some
going
way?
to make it worse. We're not going to make it worse by getting out of Syria.
Well, I'd like to find a way to restore America's reputation to a country that other countries can trust and show some respect for, which we've lost that. I mean, this country that we have today, this is not the United States I grew up in, where we were well regarded. We were considered moral leaders. We were considered, you know, definitely a
If we're
focus
going
on the world stage.
If we're going to get it back, Trump is a good way to get it back. I think he's a moral leader. I disagree with you highly. I do not think he's weak whatsoever. He didn't have to go into office. He doesn't need the money. He was wealthy. He's had just a bunch of garbage ever since he's been in office. Why do you think he went in? To enrich himself like all these other political scum?
No, it was in
He's
Trump's
up
case.
against
It's
monumental
vanity.
pressures. He's not weak
It's
whatsoever.
ego. It's
No,
ego.
it's not.
Of
No,
course
it's
it's
not.
his
You
ego.
guys, no, it's not. Not at all.
Well, why would you go into the
You
White
think
House?
he's having fun?
He's got
You
money,
think he's having
Nancy.
fun
He's
listening to his
got
son being?
money, Nancy. He's got money. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the paycheck from being in the White House. He loves going
No,
on
he
out
loves
there on
America.
the campaign.
He loves America.
No,
He's doing it because he loves America. He's
I
a
seriously
patriot,
doubt
and
that.
people hate him over it. I don't. I disagree with you.
Well,
I look forward to other callers calling in.
We're going to have to agree to disagree then, Nancy, because I
Yes.
think that Trump did this purely out of ego. He got to be a reality TV star, and then he said, "What can I do after this? I know I'll go and I'll be the president of the United States of America." But he's doing a terrible job of it. And
whose idea was it for him to do a reality TV show?
He's going to botch this up. You watch this whole Turkey.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Actually, the deep state that undermines him at every turn has tried to botch every good thing up that he's tried to do.
Right now, the deep state is trying to deal with the impeachment. They may have hit a real roadblock on that one. But, I mean, first of all, pulling out of the Iran P5+1 agreement, that was a mistake. There's no question about that. And then he pulls out of the INF treaty.
I don't know much about it, but I bet you that there are questions about that.
Well, first of all, you understand that under Islam, Iran will not use nuclear weapons. That's why they weren't building any of them. It's considered basically a sin to use nuclear weapons. So,
wow, what a good moral people that they won't do that. And here we are over there destroying. For Israel, for greater Israel. We go over there, they destroy our buildings. They were in charge of...
Nancy, name me the one country on earth that has actually used nuclear weapons of mass destruction against the civilians of another country.
It's us.
Yeah, that's right. It's exactly. It's us.
We have such a reputation to guard.
Okay,
so,
well...
the country... Can I say one more thing real fast and I'll get off? I promise.
Yeah, real quick.
So I believe the Mossad was behind 9/11, and Netanyahu said 9/11 was good for Israel. And so we ended up over there killing all their neighbors so they can move in and take their land. And they're facilitating these people getting pushed out of their land and going over to Europe and going over to America because they want that land vacant for themselves.
Yes, they're definitely doing that. I'll agree with you on that one.
Yeah, and the Kurds are their little puppy dogs, their little lap dogs to do their little bidding. The Kurds are no better than them. And Erdogan, you know what? You know who was really behind the Armenian massacre? It was the Donmei Jews. Ataturk was a Jew, a Donmei Jew. He practiced his Judaism secretly. And so here, the Netanyahu's telling Erdogan he should apologize. No, the Israelis should apologize. But you know what? None of them were there when it happened. I really hate these ideas that what your ancestors did, you're responsible for. But if they're not going
I'll
to
agree on
acknowledge,
I'll agree on that one.
to acknowledge and change, the problem is if they're not going to acknowledge and change, then they are guilty. They need to apologize. Why are they getting billions of dollars of reparations? Do you know of any other countries that give millions of dollars for war situations that happened? These people.
No, but then I don't know any of the countries that set up Jeff Epstein to basically lure and entrap American politicians into compromising situations.
Right. Another disgusting thing that they do. And what is their motto, too, by the way? The Mossad's motto is, by deception we make war.
Close enough for that. By the way, apparently a listener just called on in and said that there are only 50 soldiers coming home. So it's not like it's complete and total. I agree with you on that one.
Well, it's just the beginning. I mean, just because there are only 50 doesn't mean that that's all there's going to be.
But just because there's 50 doesn't mean that isn't all that there's going to be. We've been lied to so many times. I mean, at this point, one thing I think you and I will probably agree on is the fact that we cannot take anything the U.S. government or the corporate media or Donald Trump say at face value.
I take what Donald says at face value. He's under tremendous, he's being stabbed in the back by the likes of Mitt Romney, the scumbucket that he is. I'm so fed up with all these people and their slimy political dealings. I'm sick of it.
Well, Nancy, these people seem to feel they're on target. They seem to feel that they've got something that they can work with towards impeachment. And the way that Donald Trump, is trying to head off the impeachment rather than just take it straight on. I think there may, in fact, be something there. Now, we are going to have some details about that.
All. The guy wasn't even a whistleblower. He wasn't a whistleblower. They even changed the definition of what a whistleblower is. The whole thing is a joke. And those people don't have 1 ounce of credibility. Anybody who even goes there, it amazes me that anybody would say, oh, there's something, these Democrats, Biden and these criminals, they have something on Trump. You know what? A lot of these people that are against him, they're drug-hardened creeps.
Well, let's keep things in perspective here, because don't forget, Donald Trump, early on in his business career, did business with organized crime. And they may be thinking that they can use that to push him out.
That's a rumor. I don't believe it.
Okay. Nancy.
Nancy. The fake media.
Nancy.
I've got to go. It's been so nice talking to you, Mike. I got to go.
All right. Well, thanks an awful lot. I mean, Nancy's obviously got a preconceived idea as to what is really going on. And you really can't come into this discussion saying that here. You need to find out, what's going on. And everything is possible. All right. Let's go to Dave in Orlando. Aloha, Dave. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Oh, hi, Mike. You're sounding so much better now.
Thank you.
I was just thinking, wouldn't it be funny if we all called Hill and Knowlton tomorrow and congratulated them on the 29th anniversary of Nira al-Sabaz, the purported hospital volunteer, 15 years old, babies in incubators. The whole thing got started nearly.
It's actually the daughter of the Kuwaiti ambassador.
Exactly, 29 years ago, and
Has it been that long? Oh my goodness.
Anyway, that's all I had to say. I'm just so angry every time I think of it. I'm sick and tired of the fake news and these politicians. I'm done with them.
Okay, I am too as well. Thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Sherry in Texas. Aloha, Sherry. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Thank you, Mike. The last 2 or 3 days, all these corporate radio hosts, since they're the only ones I get here, are on this bandwagon bad-mouthing China. Now, I don't want to go into all the things I like about China. I have no problem with it. I didn't know we were a better democracy. I don't get that at all. So here's my question. Without going into detail on what I do like about China, if we stand for freedom and stand with Hong Kong and against the China government, what freedoms, Mike, are we condoning? I don't get that we're a better democracy. What are we condoning if
we are basically implying that we will turn Hong Kong into a democracy, but then we made the same promise about Ukraine. We made the same promise about Syria, Afghanistan, and it didn't happen. This is all about separating a very large chunk of land away from its current owner, the way we did with Crimea, and bringing it under U.S. puppet rule for purely financial reasons.
My answer. Well, I just was afraid kids would be have more exposure to violence or something. I don't want that. I think we've got too much.
There's a lot of violence happening in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is still insisting that there's outside foreign influence at work here. They're talking about sending in the mainland Chinese army to try and get it all under control. Apparently, there's been huge amounts of vandalism, and terrible. It's a bad situation. But that look how many places around the world right now there seem to be all this rioting going on, whether it's Hong Kong or Venezuela or France or London, and it's like the entire world is getting ready to just pop like a bubble.
Yeah, and they're younger kids. They don't have technologies that expose them to violence like ours do, like these tablets and things and games. Don't they restrict some of those things? Because restricting it for the young is a good idea. Kids act things out, and our games can be violent.
I to agree with you, but I have to be very honest. I don't know the current state of the games market in China. I suspect that above a certain age, probably pretty much everything's available. I like games like Forge of Empires. Now, I don't play computer games other than flight simulators. I love flight simulators, spacecraft simulators, but I see the commercials for Forge of Empires about how people are getting together and they're working to build a society. I'm saying that's the model we should be selling.
Yeah,
not going on out just blasting everybody, into pieces.
And how about their healing therapies? They actually heal the sick. They train here with our good doctors and our good universities, and then they go back to their country and use their own therapies. And those therapies, these Oriental therapies that have been around for thousands and eons, and they heal, Mike.
Yes.
And, I'd like to see that here. And then, of course, do we want them to go back to a fiat banking? They were there, and so was Russia, and they failed under those systems. So I just wanted to make these little points, squeeze them in. That I don't like what I'm hearing. I'm just turning off the radio because I don't think we're a better democracy. I'd like us all to get together, be friends,
I don't think
and
we're
be
a democracy at all. Not with the elections are crooked.
Congratulations. Yes. Thank you for saying it. I was afraid to.
The elections are crooked. We have this demographic nightmare from the illegal immigrants who are not supposed to be voting, but they're voting. We can't be a democracy if the democratic system isn't working. Anyway, listen,
right.
Sherry, we're going to let you go, and we've got some more calls here. We're going to start with Stuart in Florida. Aloha, Stuart. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
How you doing, Mike? It's very tiresome to hear people like your first caller blame poor Donald Trump. He has all the deep state against him. As Donald Trump, when he came in, he knew it was the swamp he was coming in against. He should have cleared out. I'm sorry.
Yes, he should have
cleared out 2 or 3 levels deep, and the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA probably should have fired most of the generals and promoted the colonels.
I agree.
And then, and what does he expect?
I've got to put you on hold. Stuart, I got to put you on hold. We'll be right back after these few words.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Stuart in Florida. And Stuart, I'm absolutely in agreement with you that the biggest single strategic mistake Donald Trump made coming into the White House is he wanted to be magnanimous in victory. And he wanted to say to all those Obama holdovers, yes, you can keep your jobs. Nobody's going to get fired. I'm the new boss. And I just sort of expect that you will do what I tell you to do, which, of course, and sadly, did not really work out. But yeah, that was his big problem. And you're absolutely right. He should have come on in and he should have just scraped out the entire top 3 layers of government and said, okay, we're putting in people that I know for a fact will implement my policies. And when you look at how long it took him to fire John Bolton, to me, that's a sign of how weak a leader he really is.
Yeah, and you look at all the people he appointed. I mean, how do you continue to have a little buffoon gangster like Pompeo over there? I mean, it's unbelievable. But the thing is you can see the character of the man if you already in the campaign. As soon as he gets a little bit of heat, he starts firing people like his campaign managers. He went through, I think, about 3 of them, He gets a little bit
Yes.
of heat, he fires him. On top of that, you have him constantly lying, whether it's about chemical weapons or the Iran deal or even defeating ISIS. So all you people who think, he's such a great guy, and poor Donald Trump, and, he's doing the best he can, the man is a coward and a liar.
No, he's not.
And, and on that positive note, I'll retire.
Well, Trump could be doing a much better job. Now, of course, a lot of the people that he's appointed were basically repayments for political favors and campaign contributions. But yeah, there were a lot of cases. I mean, as you pointed out, Trump lied to us all about Assad gassing his own people, and he sent in the cruise missiles and he killed a bunch of people. That was a lie. That was Donald Trump lying to the American people on national TV. Can't get away from that one. All right, going to go back to the phones here to Carol in. All right, thanks a lot, Stuart. Carol, and I'm not even sure where this is, Idaho. Aloha, Carol. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. Thank you very much. I couldn't agree more with you and Stuart regarding Mr. Trump. But I called mainly, Mike, just to appeal to your caller, Nancy. I appreciate, Nancy, your passion. I appreciate you're obviously very well researched. But there's one thing. It's first of all rude to the host to interrupt the host, not allow the host to get a full sentence in, a full sentence of reply. And it's also very difficult for us, even for us listeners who want to hear both sides. So please, people, not only Nancy, but every now and then we get a caller who just won't take a breath. And so please do take a breath. Let the host respond before your next thought. So, Mike, you're more patient, and so is John Stadtmiller. You're more patient with some of these people than I would be, I'm afraid. So I'm just asking, for the good of us all, please consider, take a breath, and let the host speak.
Well, I'm an old guy. It's not like I could get out of this chair and beat the crud out of somebody for being rude. So I'm kind of, by default, I have to be kind of calm and polite here. Anyway, Carol, thank you very much for the phone call. And we're going to switch over to Dustin in New Jersey. Aloha, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
I'm probably the most hated person on your station because I don't go along with what anybody says. Hey, Mike.
I disagree with that. I have to disagree with that. We get a lot of positive email about you. We have a lot of people who write in and say they really do like you, and I like you. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't answer the phone.
Mike, I like Nancy, but Nancy, Trump is a human being. You don't know Trump, okay? Like his wife didn't know him because he cheated on her. So I'm sorry. No, Mike,
Good
that's
point. Good point.
Mike, it's not funny. Like Trump is a human being. He didn't part the Red Sea. Okay? He's a faulty human being like all of us. But what's going on if you just take your glasses off or your Trump hat and look with your own eyes? There's no wall being built. There's nothing. There's no indictments coming. There's nothing being done. Okay, people? And all these people who Trump put in, Mike Pompeo, Gianna Haspel, are still there. These people are the deep. Trump has built not the wall on the border. He built the wall around him, Mike, because he built the wall that he can't climb because he put these people in that are against him. If you believe that he's really fighting for us, you know what I mean? Like, because we've been duped before.
He's fighting for re-election. He doesn't care about the American people right now. He wants what every first-term president wants, and that's a second term. And now, of course, he's having to deal with the potential that Hillary Clinton is going to step into the race here. Anyway, Dustin, stay on the line. I'm going to come back to you right after these few words.
tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Extend your life with Extendovite. When your doctor tells you have bad cholesterol or blockages in the arteries, what do? When diet and exercise is not enough, we try medications and hope for the best. For the last 2 decades, I have been telling people about a natural method to help solve these problems and more. Extendovite can help maintain cardiovascular health and lower blood lipid levels in adults. The 7 herbs in Extendovite are known to work together synergistically to get the results we hope for. There are many testimonials on Extendovite's effect on circulatory-related ailments. Get Extendovite today to start your journey back to a healthier life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or see us on amazon.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. We're talking with Dustin in New Jersey. And Dustin, you've pretty much hit the nail right on the head. Donald Trump is not a god. And even if he was, all gods have feet of clay. And so, yes, he cheated on his wife. He lied to us all about Assad gassing his own people. He lied to us about his reasons for getting out of the P5+1 arrangement and the INF. I mean, how many more times do we have to have this guy lie to us before we realize he's just another slimy politician?
But he did tell us the truth. We're in a big, fat, ugly bubble. And then when he got in, everything's fine. No, everything's not fine, people. I mean, Mike, I'm a Catholic. I went to a Catholic school. I'm not overly religious, so I don't go to church. But, the whole story of Jesus taking a whip to the money junkies.
I like
Trump's
that.
Taking like a fly swatter to these people. I mean, he's not doing anything to fight. I mean, like I said, there's no indictments coming, people.
Let's be honest and let's be fair. Let's be fair. What can he actually do now? The Federal Reserve System is completely out of money. The American people are completely out of money. Factories are shutting down. Nobody can buy anything. And when Trump won in 2016, I made a prediction. I said, you watch, the Democrats are going to let the economy crash and they're going to blame Trump for it. And that's exactly what's about to happen.
Then why can't, as a human being and as like a honest person, honest Joe, why doesn't he go on national television? Because he has that ability to break into the local football games and the reality TV show and tell people the truth. None of these
people don't want to hear the truth. That's the problem. The people don't want to hear the people don't want to hear how bad and dangerous the situation really is. They basically want to sit back and watch their sporting events and think they've got a good beat on things. And yeah, maybe it's a little tight, and things could be better. But if you were to tell the American people just how close to a whole new depression we really are, they're going to get very upset. And the Democrats, again, they're going to say, Trump did this. Donald Trump did all of this. We're sorry, but we warned you Donald Trump was going to ruin the economy.
And you would think he would head off this if he's the smartest, brightest Jesus in the world. That would say, well, this has been ongoing for for 70, 80 years. But he has people he put in, because let me remind people, he put all these people in. Okay? They didn't just jump on board. He put these people in. Either he has bad advisors or he's bad. But he put these people in. In the end, he's the captain of the ship. So he's going to go down with the ship.
You're absolutely right about that one.
And Mike, real quick before I get a phone, I don't know if you saw Duterte at that Valdi discussion. I want people to watch that. Duterte from the Philippines, because he said the Pax Americana, basically it's the unipolar world is dying. The neoliberal world order is dying, and it's rising a multipolar world. That's what it comes down to. Have a good show, Mike.
All right, thanks an awful lot. And Duterte is absolutely right. This idea of a monopolar United States liberal empire, it's coming apart at the seams. And to me, it can't happen fast enough. It's going to be rough to get through. So folks, be prepared for that. Okay, let's go to Keith Rogers. Aloha, Keith. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, I got one thing. Actually, I got a couple things here. Hi to Carol over in Idaho. And Dustin, I'm waiting for him to get a show out here on RBN. But, I always try to look at things in a different light. And one of them is that scene from 12 Angry Men where Henry Fonda is in a shout-out with Ed Begley, Sr.
Yes.
About that woman's testimony. And when he says, what do you want to believe her for? She's one of them. And I'll tell you, I have noticed a lot of racism behind this president that we have. And when it comes to bombing people and stuff or invading other countries, Americans have no problem with that. And this goes back to that Wharton College deal where Donald Trump had bought the ammo for the Contras. And you're talking upwards of 80,000 people killed there alone down in Nicaragua. I mean, and then William Barr, who he hires, I call him the fixer. He's the one that went down illegally into Panama to get Noriega, who George Bush Sr., the CIA, was doing drugs with. And they were mad because Noriega wouldn't train the Contra fighters there in Panama. I mean,
actually, Noriega was trying to blackmail. Noriega tried to blackmail George Herbert Walker Bush over the fact that they were running all of this cocaine through Panama to bring up into Arkansas.
Right, and then Khashoggi, the journalist that was killed, his uncle. I can't think his first name. It starts with an A though, but he's the one that did the Saudi alliance. What's that?
Adnan Khashoggi.
What was his name? Yeah, there you go. His uncle. Yeah, he did the alliance between the Saudis and Iraq at the time when the CIA supplied the weapons of mass destruction over there, the actual chemicals at the time, to be used against Iran and the northern Kurds at the same time. I mean, the whole thing. It's like everyone that was in power during the Iran-Contras and the Oliver North trials, they're in power today.
Yeah, that's a real scary thought. And again, it's a continuation of this war policy and this war machine, the military-industrial complex, because right now, from the point of view of the U.S. government, they cannot back down. This goes all the way back to when General Wesley Clark came on out and said, look, they're planning on conquering all of the oil-bearing nations in the Middle East and locking them to the U.S. dollar because that's the only way to keep demand for the dollar propped up. And they've gone too far down that road. They can't quit. They can't turn around and say we've changed our mind. The U.S. economy would implode.
Yeah, and then they've depressed the economy to keep the so-called military up. Remember that article in Military Times less than 3 months ago? It says they're considering of lowering the selective service age down to and the enlistment age down to 16. They've met the recruitment goals, and the main reason is because of students and their student loans. They can't pay them off, so they join the military.
Yep.
I mean, it is. It's a war-based economy, and it's like me. I worry because I think of other kids as futures and stuff like that. We've had ours. We're old now. But
yes, we are.
This entire life of watching young boys die. When you look at Arlington Cemetery and stuff. Or that article in the Fox News where it said 274 Marines' remains may have been dumped in the Virginia landfill. I mean, this is what it's Henry Kissinger all over again. That military men are just dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns in U.S. foreign policy. And then you see the IG report that says that 307,000 veterans died waiting for VA care. I mean, they're pawns, and the government doesn't care. Just as much as they don't care about the people here, or they don't care about who they're bombing.
No, they're all pirate lords.
Yep. All right, well, my best to you there, Mike, and I hope you're having a good day. We had 4 inches of new snow.
Okay, well, we don't have snow here just yet. We're not expecting it anytime soon, but the trees are definitely turning to autumn, and we're expecting thunder showers on Friday. And but it looks like we've pretty much got everything into the new domicile. And Monday they're going to hook up our high-speed internet and our cable TV, and I'll be able to get my big machine back up and running and finally start getting caught up on all of this stuff that piles up. I, to be very honest, never dreamed that it was going to be this long after we got here to Indiana before we got into a home. I thought we'd get here 2 weeks tops, we'll be up and running. Didn't work out that way, but we're getting close, and boy, am I glad. What can I tell you here? And unfortunately, the only big problem that's happened so far, I mean, the Packers on the other side, the Samoans who insisted they spoke English and apparently did not, they've lost the power cord that went to my shortwave radio, so I don't have a communications receiver right now. They lost the power cord that went to my scanner, so I don't have a scanner. Not that I use the scanner around this part of the world, but I do like having a shortwave communications radio, so I'm probably going to have to go out to eBay and find a new one of those. Anyway, Keith, thank you very much for the phone call. Thank you for the good wishes. And we're going to go to Al in Canada. Aloha, Al. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Just so Dustin knows, I thoroughly enjoy his phone calls. Keith's great too. There are a few others.
Yes.
As far as
I
Donald
don't know
Trump
where
actually
Dustin
going in
got
front of
that
him,
idea that people hate him. I honestly don't know
it's
that.
some of the comments that show up.
I get comments like that all the time. It doesn't mean everybody on planet Earth hates me. The dog loves me. Lucy the mascot loves me. I can find
Mike,
her.
I don't think anyone that calls into your show hates you at all. I mean, you have a lot of listeners. But
I've had a few.
Donald Trump, yeah, well, I've witnessed a few of them myself. Some of these, what do they call these people? The well poisoners. right?
Yes.
Yes. So Donald Trump obviously cannot tell the truth about what's really going on, and because history has proven that that's not a good idea. We had a politician here in the early 90s, Joe Clark. He was conservative as far as Canadians concerned, and he actually told the people exactly what he was going to do because of why. And he ended up with a minority government, and it was gone within 6 months. And Jean Chrétien got in, the Liberals, and he did exactly what Joe Clark said he was going to do. He offloaded everything to the provinces. The provinces offloaded everything to the municipalities. And, the federal liberals started paying down the debt, which was getting out of control.
Yes.
So, I don't expect Donald Trump to ever tell the truth. And I presume that if he did, he would either end up dead or he would get definitely impeached, even if he could tell the truth.
Maybe impeached, but now he's got to deal with Hillary. Ever since Hillary started dropping hints that she's running next year, she's polling in number 3. And to me, that kept me up last night. I literally did not get any sleep last night, just sitting there in bed saying, why, oh, why did I throw away my inflatable Hillary Love doll? I didn't think I was going to need it in 2020.
Well, they are polls, Mike, right?
Yes.
And they're not worth a hill of beans. Polls and government stats don't mean anything.
Well, I got to say, I don't wish ill to anybody, but we do know that Hillary does have some medical issues, and that maybe she's just talking about running against Trump just because she wants to yank his chain. So we'll find out.
It's possible because there's no one else out there. Literally, no one.
Well, Mitt Romney's talking about running against Trump, and let's be very honest, Hillary could steamroller over Mitt Romney.
Well, he's one of those, his company there, what was it, Bain Capital or something?
Yeah.
They went in and bought up companies and broke them up and then sold them off into little itty-bitty pieces, just that movie. Right?
Yeah, there's a movie. It's called When Mitt Romney Came to Town. It was done as opposition research, I think, by the Newt Gingrich campaign, and it just showed what this guy was really all about: coming into communities, buying up businesses, and just shredding them for their assets.
Yeah, you want to talk about piracy?
Yes.
That's wow. It's just amazing. So, I don't. It could be worse. Mike, honestly, it could be a lot worse, in the United States. Don't ask me how, but it just could be, Hillary could have won. Who knows what would have happened?
I think we would have been in a nuclear war by now, and I don't want Hillary to win. And part of it's personal, because back in 1994, the Clintons ruined my life over the Vince Foster affair, and I'd like a little payback. Okay, and I'm not shy about saying that. I don't like the Clintons because they're not nice people.
No. History has proven that they aren't nice at all. They're pompous beyond belief. I guess, Mike, I don't know who they know and what kind of cleanup crew they have working for them, but obviously they're very high paid. So,
anyway. You remember Larry Nichols admitted killing people on behalf of the Clintons. So I don't know where he is right now. I know he was very, very ill, but I'm sure that Hillary Clinton has got a whole bunch of assassins on speed dial. And it's one of the reasons why Claire and I are keeping our exact geographic location here in Santa Claus a secret. And we're using a post office box.
That's a good move. Plus, there are a lot of nut bars out there. It's getting worse.
Well, if you're talking about the people around here in Indiana, they're wonderful. And I was telling Claire just this morning, I haven't met anybody nasty here since we got to this part of Indiana. And they remind me a lot of what the people of Oahu were like when we first moved there 23 years ago. And then it started getting crowded and the immigrants came on in and the drugs came on in and it got really ugly. But I mean, everybody here is just absolutely wonderful, and we're enjoying the people. And it's taking me a while to get used to this place because, if you think about it, where I've lived and worked in the past are places like Rome and London and Milan and Munich and Hollywood. And all of a sudden, here I am in the middle of Indiana, and it's taking a little bit of getting used to.
It's rural, right?
Yes.
Where you are, it's rural.
Oh, it is very rural. And,
so people
I've already got a salt lick out there for the deer to come on in and all the rest of that. Anyway, listen, got to let you go. Got to take a break for commercials. Mike. And we will be back with yet another phone call after these few words.
Hey, this check is wrong. I worked a holiday and 7 hours of overtime. Not getting paid correctly is a real pain. It could also hurt our boss if our company provides out-of-compliance checks. That's right, construction companies doing business with the government can get fined, or officials of the companies can go to jail if the checks aren't right. It's a law. The Davis-Bacon Act has 30 compliance issues for every check, but there is an easy way for construction companies to be in compliance. EMARS offers Compliant Client, a web-based system that finds and corrects all 30 of the possible out-of-compliance check issues. Users of Compliant Client report an 80% savings in time and money. Running a weekly payroll usually takes about 5 minutes. All 15,000 plus clients of EMARS have never had a legal compliance issue. Plus, they sleep better on check day. Contact EMARS at emarsinc.com or call 480-595-0466.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And we are going to go to Tom in Florida. Aloha, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, Michael, good day to you. Good day to you, Michael. I want to tell you something about Indiana in a minute. It was pretty cool about Indiana, but I want to tell you this. The last caller you had was a good caller. But you've had a couple other callers are bashing Trump every day, and we know who the one guy is from New Jersey, Dustin. Every day he's bashing Trump. And, you know, he said this guy's lying to your audience. He's lying to everybody. I don't want to hear this crap that Trump's not trying to build no wall. I can tell you for a fact he's already built 32 miles of brand new wall in San Diego. Yeah, it was an existing wall.
32 whole miles of wall.
Well, wait, Michael. Wait a minute, Michael. Hold on. I got a brother who lives in Arizona. He tells me he has a good friend who works for Border Patrol over there. They are building a wall, and they are securing it. They don't have a little barbed wire fence anymore, okay? So Trump is spending billions of dollars to do something about the border. All we hear all day, all the time from Dustin is Trump is this, Trump is that. He's not done nothing. Would the Democrats have ever, like the last caller said, would if Hillary would have gotten in there, or a Democrat, would we even heard about a wall, Michael? We would have heard about the gangs, the angel mothers and fathers. Another caller's calling Trump a racist. Hey, my friend, what's his name? Kenny Rogers. Hey, Kenny Rogers, you should sing a song if that's the truth. Because let me tell you, the real racist is the Democratic Party, my friend.
Okay, Tom.
Okay,
Tom,
if you're saying that Trump is the wait, Michael,
Tom,
please hear me out, Michael, please. Look at the angel
I need
moms and
you to
dads.
hear me
Look at
out.
the cities in Chicago. Hold on, Mike. What is it?
I said I
Hey,
need
Michael,
you to
listen.
hear me out here for a little bit, because the fact of the matter is that, again, not enough wall is being built. Okay. Trump did lie to us about Assad gassing his own people. Trump did lie about his reasons for pulling out of the P5+1. Trump did lie about his reasons for pulling out of the INF. And I'm not saying Donald Trump is a perfect, pure villain, but neither is he a perfect human being. And we have to be very honest in evaluating his job performance. And so far, I mean, especially looking at the economy, his job performance is not that good.
Well, Michael, you know, that's politics. But let's get back to Joe Biden. Let's get back to Obama. Let's get back to Hillary. Let's get back to Bill Clinton. Let's get back to all the Bushes. We know they're all corrupted or whatever, how you want to say it. But, you know, Trump at least got the media to talk about these issues. You never even heard about it. It's like when Walter Cronkite was Nixon. Walter Cronkite was running the narrative that Nixon, and that's why Nixon was impeached, because he didn't have a network like yours that could fight back to the American public like Fox News. That's why Nixon went out. What did really Nixon do to get thrown out of office or forced to resign?
Well, he sicked the IRS on his political enemies. He tried to cover up the break-in at the Watergate, which is obstruction of justice. Yeah.
Mike, let me ask you a question. Dustin every day why doesn't Dustin talk about Murphy, his governor in his state of New Jersey that's raping the crap out of American people that live in that state? That state of New Jersey is a joke. You live in a state, Michael, I guarantee you, I don't know how you vote, but that state's going Republican. So you know what? Don't throw your vote Republican. Because, you know, now in Dustin's case, I don't know where that Kenny Rogers guy's from. Well, you know what? I don't know what states they vote from, but I know their votes are worthless. Whatever Dustin does is voting. He said he doesn't vote. Okay, you know what? You don't vote, but Dustin don't vote. But you know what? You live in a state, even if your vote wouldn't count. Now, I want to tell you something about Indiana if you hold me on, Michael. I want to tell you something about Indiana.
All right, I'm going to hold you over, but I'm going to ask you to keep it short on the other side because we're running real short on time. We'll be right back.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 2 here. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And we're going to give Tom an opportunity down there in Florida to tell me about my new home state of Indiana.
Yeah, Michael, I just want you to know, and I'm going to go right there to it. But that guy Rogers, I just want him to know the Democrats are a party of the Ku Klux Klan, okay? And Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. But getting back to Indiana, yes. Michael, Indiana has more redheads with freckles than any state in the United States of America. There's more redheaded women there and men. You call them the copperheads. And there's more redheads in that state than any other state. Wisconsin has got a lot of redheads, but you'll see some of the most beautiful redheaded women, other if you went maybe to Ireland or Scotland, in the state of Indiana. I don't know if you knew that.
I have to be very honest. I hadn't noticed it. And I'm not saying that they're not out there, but you need to understand we're in a very rural area. And I mean, it's like it's a 30-minute drive to the nearest Walmart. All right, so... Well,
when you go to a Walmart, you'll see more redheaded women in that state than anywhere. I can tell you that. And Kentucky's got a lot, in Wisconsin, but Indiana's number one. As far as Dustin goes, and he's every day bashing Trump, I just want to say this, Michael. You know, does he have anything positive to say about Trump that would really make him feel good that Trump's doing something? He's not like his governor Murphy in New Jersey that's totally raping the taxpayers over there. And that's everybody's fleeing out of that state.
Tom, it's obvious that you and Dustin will never see eye to eye on Donald Trump. And I tend to, agree. Donald Trump, he's not a pure evil person, but he's not a good person either. And he's doing a very ineffectual job. Anyway, we're going to let you go.
Oh, Michael, he's got the angel mothers and fathers. He's talking to the angel mothers and dads. And that's what I look at. The angel mothers and fathers. And 80% of the blacks will never vote for Republican.
Goodbye, Tom. We're going to switch over to Terry in California. Aloha, Terry. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike, I was hoping Tom would listen to that woman this morning that said, "Don't interrupt the host." I thought about him as soon as she said that, but evidently he didn't get the message. But anyway,
our control room technician is saying we're going to wire up a button to send an electric shock down Tom's phone line if he doesn't learn some manners.
Okay. Well, Nancy, this morning she made more sense as our conversation went on, and I'm just kind of sorry you didn't say equate Trump with his Zionist masters, and the government there. And I think that his position on the P5+1 was all set. He was given his orders from Netanyahu and Adelson before. I don't think he had an opinion before those guys told him to get out of that treaty. That's just what I think. And
could very well be the case, but again, he's supposed to be the president, and if he's letting Netanyahu and Adelson tell him what to do, it's another indicator of his weakness as a leader.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's why Bolton stayed on so long, because he was afraid to fire him. He hired him because of those guys.
Yes.
And he didn't fire him because he didn't want to, get their irateness against him. So everything, we're like you've said so many times, we're a occupied nation. I mean, we're a puppet government, for another smaller country that the rest of the world really can't understand why we're doing this. But anyway, I got just something on what you said before. The Marine Corps, I don't think, is exempt from posse comitatus. I did a little research on that, and everything I read is they're included in with the U.S. Army and the other service is the only one exempt. From what I can see is the Coast Guard.
Excuse me. The Marines are not part of the Army. They're part of the Navy.
Well, they're a separate branch of the service under the Department of the Navy. Yes, but posse comitatus includes them, according to what I read. You know, the Navy also.
Well, I'll look into that. I'll have to look into that. But I remember, and maybe it's changed recently, but some years ago, there was this test that was put out called the Combat Arms Surveys, and it was administered only to United States Marines at places like 29 Palms and Camp Pendleton. And the questionnaire was basically, would you be willing to confiscate firearms from the American citizens? Would you be willing to shoot American citizens resisting firearms confiscation? So I'll take a look at it, but I think there may be an issue there.
Yeah, you also told me that the commanders of those troops that were given that survey told them to say yes, and we're not sure that
Well,
they
they
all meant
implied
it. You know?
it. They implied it. They didn't actually say you will say yes. But the guy that I had working for me in my production company had been a Marine, and he said, pretty much everybody answered in the affirmative because it was made clear to us that's what the commanders wanted. They weren't ordered to say
I know
yes,
how that works.
but it was. Yeah.
Yeah. I was in the Marine Corps 28 years, counting the reserves, and that's true. The last point I want to ask is your position on global warming is that it's there, but it's not human caused. Is that correct?
My position on global warming is that right now the globe is cooling. It goes through cooling and warming phases. And even NASA is now admitting that this is all caused by changes in the Earth's orbit around the sun, as well as the output of solar energy. And as in point of fact, your little plastic bags really have not much to do with it at all.
Okay, so, but, in these measurements around with the temperatures around the glaciers and all that stuff, I guess there's a lag in that, right? I mean, it takes a while for the cooling to take place. Is that true?
Well, it depends. It depends on how the measurements are being made. But part of the problem is a lot of the data has just been outright falsified. And we had a story that we did on that very subject earlier today, rather yesterday, saying that the big scandal 30 years from now, people are going to be looking back and just wondering how it was that they were bamboozled into being so terrified of global warming, human-caused global warming, when the data was being fudged. We know that they fudged the data and the computer codes at the Hadley Climate Research Unit at the University of East Anglia. We know that NOAA has been caught fudging the data. We know that NASA, which stands for Never a Straight Answer, they got caught fudging the data. We know that Al Gore, in his mockumentary An Inconvenient Truth, literally reversed the relationship between global warming and carbon dioxide to try and create an effect that wasn't really there at all. And in fact, Inconvenient Truth was done so badly, there was actually a British court decision that before it can be shown to British students, the teacher has to read this list of at least 8 known misstatements within there. It's a con. It's another con to get your money and your obedience. And Ken Lay actually helped Al Gore set up his carbon trading scam.
Mm-hmm. Mike, let me just ask you this. If they went through with this new Green Deal, or however they're going to do it to combat human-caused global warming, if they did that, would there be any effect on the atmosphere itself? In other words, Would it have any effect
No,
at all?
the effect is going to be on your wallet. That's where the effect is going to be. It's going to be on your wallet. This is another way of taking wealth away from the wealthy nations and shifting it to the poor nations as part of this whole globalist situation. But in terms of the Green New Deal, for one thing, I mean, look at some of the stuff that's in there. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she wants to build a bridge from Los Angeles to Hawaii. And it is very obvious she knows absolutely nothing about the underwater topography between California and Hawaii, or for that matter, bridge engineering. They're just saying these things to get people riled up and say, oh my God, the world is coming to an end. The world is coming to an end. And we've got to do something about it. So here, please take this check, take my money and leave me alone in peace.
Yeah, okay, Tulsi Gabbard, she is behind this global warming thing. And
well, it's a Democratic platform. It's part of the Democratic platform.
So she's going along with the Democratic platform, but
yes,
she's not going along with them when it comes to war. Which is
that's what
good.
I really liked about her was that she served in combat. She's anti-war, and unfortunately, I think that's the reason why they're working so hard to keep her off the debate stage. Is she's a major threat to the military-industrial complex.
Exactly. Okay, Mike, I've used up all my time. It's time to let me go and talk to the next caller or give us the news.
All right. Well, thanks an awful lot here. And we're going to go to Dustin in New Jersey. And Dustin, before I put you on the air, I want you to go very gentle on Tom, okay, and understand that this is supposed to be a polite discussion. And we are not repeating that prior experiment of putting you both on the air at the same time. That was utter lunacy, and we're not going to do that again. So, Dustin, be a gentleman.
Worked out pretty good.
Actually, no, we got a lot of emails saying what a complete waste of time that all was here. Anyway, so Dustin, what is on your mind?
Well, first of all, before I get to Tom, global warming is all about a carbon tax on human beings. That's what it's about. It's not about there weren't a solar minimum, people. If you do any basic research,
yes.
So all right, so off with that. With Tom, I can live on like the moon. And I still wouldn't vote for Trump again. I voted for Trump, and Mike, he hasn't delivered. And I'm sorry. People keep making excuses.
I'm in agreement with you, Dustin. I agree.
But Tom don't
with you.
understand. But Tom's
got his own agenda.
No, Tom. Let me tell you, I like Tom. I believe in the wall, Mike. I believe in no immigrants coming into the country because that waters down your culture. Like it's doing in Europe with Germany. They just had the person who drove over 17 people yesterday, right?
We had somebody who called in a little while ago saying, what would have happened if Hillary had become president in 2016? She would have absolutely torn down all the immigration barriers because the Democrats are desperate for illegal immigrant Democrat voters to keep hanging on to power.
The problem is we're at a record number of people streaming in. So I want Tom to explain why Trump hasn't put anybody in to stop it. Why are we still not having Tom, where's the arrest? You kept saying, Tom, the arrest why isn't Trump or the Attorney General arresting anybody? And that's why I want to know. Why aren't nobody being arrested? Where's the indictments, Tom? We've been here. It's October 9th, 2019. Yes. Where's Sean Hannity? It's a fraud. It's a fraud. Trump's not going to fix nothing. He's going to drag it on till the next election. That's it. I don't understand. Tom, Melania, if she got divorced, you and Nancy can get ready to marry Trump because it's obvious you believe whatever he says because you don't do any research I don't understand people. Mike, why can't people just think before and look of what's going on before they speak or say, wait a minute, I voted, I voted for Trump.
Culture,
nothing's going on, Mike.
Because our culture is raised to think in terms of slogans and jingles egoism, and it's actually been that way for a long time. Tippecanoe and Tyler too. Ma, where's my pa? He's gone to Washington. Ha ha ha. And that was what got people to the polls to vote. They're American voters, by and large, they're not rational human beings. They really are not thinking this stuff through, or they wouldn't even be listening to the Green New Deal or human-caused global warming. But they want to be part of a cause. They want to feel that they're part of something that's greater than themselves. And so I'm going to go on out and I'm going to save the baby seals from being clubbed to death. And I'm going to, support abortion and on demand and all the rest of it. They're again, ego. Their own ego is caught up in it, and it traps them.
I think we're being clubbed to death because any rational thinking human being, and I have to go back to George Bush, and I said this before because he was a wretched human, but he told us the truth in part. Fool me once, fool me twice, I will not be fooled again. When are people going to stop being fooled to what's going on if they just open their eyes and see
Actually, he
going
kind
on?
of botched that quote.
Yeah.
Botched that quote. He said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, we won't get fooled again. And it was one of the more embarrassing, ridiculous moments in his career. Oh boy!
But I like Nancy and Tom calling in though, Mike. That's part of like our debate.
Yes.
And to let people know what we think. So I don't want anybody to not call in. All right, thanks, Mike. Have a good night.
All right, thanks an awful lot here. And let's see, we're going to go over to Rick in Portland. Aloha, Rick. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Rick, are you there? Rick in we lost Rick. Too bad. He wanted to talk about astronomy. Let's go to Mark in North Carolina. Aloha, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. What's up? Hey, listen. I heard that these two guys, Dustin and this guy Tom.
Yes.
I pretty much side with Dustin. Okay. I don't think Trump is not the worst president we've had. But he's certainly far from one of the best.
He's certainly better than Millard Fillmore was.
Yeah. But he's certainly better than what we would have gotten if Mrs. Slick Willie would have gotten in there. God forbid. But other than that, I mean, my biggest problem with Trump is I just don't think the guy gets – I don't think he's all that smart. How can you –
I don't think he is either.
How can you possibly
look how many times he went bankrupt.
Well, he did become a billionaire. So I mean, you got to give him credit there as far as his business experience.
Yeah, well, if somebody gave me a couple of $1 billion to buy my favors, I'd be a billionaire as well. But Trump basically inherited a bunch of money from his father, and then he promptly lost it. And that's when he started hanging out with people like Sheldon Adelson, who said, "Yeah, we'll give you a little money here, but down the road you're going to owe us some favors."
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, he is manipulated. He's run. Netanyahu seems to almost, for all intents and purposes, run the guy. He makes decisions to get out of the Middle East, and he says, "Oh no," he lets somebody like a dirtbag like Bolton make the decision for him to stay there. And even now, supposedly we're getting out of Syria now, but I understand they're just being moved to other parts of Syria. Troops.
Well, like I said, we had that caller who called on in and said so far only about 50 Americans are actually being moved right now. And again, I don't know exactly what Trump thinks he's going to accomplish with Turkey and Syria and now Russia. They're getting involved, but I don't think he's in control of the situation.
No, he lets himself be manipulated. He should have cleaned house the minute he took over. You don't put somebody like John. No, he should have cleaned house. Even if he had to take federal troops and conduct a raid on the CIA, FBI, and the Justice Department and seize all their computers and records and get rid of all the top people. They should have all been gone. Marched out. If that's
I agree.
Marched out of them.
I agree. We
That's what
just
he
did a
should have.
mistake here. I mean, I wanted head of NASA. That's what I wanted. I wanted head of NASA. All right. Well, listen, Mark, we got to let you go. We got to take a break for commercials. We got another caller waiting on the line. It's a very busy day today, and we will be right back.
Don't regret growing old. It's a privilege denied to many. Heart disease is taking our youth from us. Young people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond are dying needlessly. One of the hardest messages I've ever had to deliver is to convince people that something natural like Extendivite should be taken as a preventative measure. I'm sure you heard an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Extendivite is that ounce. Take Extendivite for 1 year and see what your doctor has to say and how much better you feel. Herbs take time to address the problem. It took years of life to have a problem. Give Extendivite 1 year to fix the problem. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or visit us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go right back to the phones here to Lenny in California. Aloha, Lenny. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Well, Mike, what's on my mind is what's been on everybody's mind. But I'm curious. I have a question for you.
Sure.
During the time when when Bill Clinton supposedly cheated on Hillary, all we heard in the media was this is his personal life. This is what, his personal life is his personal business. Now, let me ask you this. Do you see a double standard with the media now?
I definitely see double standard. Now, the rules that we play with here at What Really Happened is the family is off limits, which is why all this nonsense about Ivanka Trump and everything. I don't agree with that. The problem with Bill Clinton wasn't that he went on out and he was getting a little Hummer from Monica Lewinsky. It's that he lied under oath about it. And at that point, it became obstruction of justice and an impeachable offense.
I agree with that. But what I'm saying is that the media was saying to the American people, and I'm not judging Bill or Donald Trump, because if I was married to Hillary, I'd probably cheat too. All right. But the point is that
actually, if I was married to Hillary, I'd commit suicide.
Commit suicide. It'd be the easier way out. Trust me. But when I look at the things that they're putting on Trump, and you made a statement yesterday. You wondered if Trump had the quote. I'm not saying the quote unquote, but it was paraphrasing. You asked if he had the moral aptitude to pull off what he was going through. But when I put him up against the likes of Adam, the shape-shifting shift, okay, Joe, the creep biting, okay, and his son, Hunter, the crackhead biting, okay, and then we'll bring up Hillary. I allegedly never met a child I didn't like the taste of, and her daughter, Chelsea Hobo Clinton, okay, and Megan McNasty McCain. She just, I'm realizing, and even with Nancy Pelosi, her son now is supposedly, her nephew or whatever is supposed to caught up in some of this
been
Ukraine
caught up
stuff.
in this whole Ukraine mess, and it's like these are multi-generational families. It's like what was it, Dallas, that TV series, with Rick Hagman here. And I'm even thinking about trying to float a TV series here in Indiana, called Dale, the Pride, Prejudice, the Produce. I don't know if that selling point is going to work very well, but I mean, but yeah, we know that, and especially around here, so many of the businesses here are in fact owned by like fourth and fifth and sixth generations. And you don't see names like McDonald's on a restaurant. Well, yes, you do occasionally, but mostly it's about, Bill's Transmissions or Susie's Hair. They put their names on the business because they're proud of that. And again, it makes for a pleasant experience here. But in terms of, again, getting back to Donald Trump, he's not effective. And his biggest mistake was not cleaning out the White House when he moved on in, which was his right to do. And I understand that when you are running for political office, that you are paid huge amounts of money, and they're saying, we're going to expect you to do certain things for us. And Trump could have said, well, thank you very much for the contributions here. And then once he got the job, he could say, well, I can't give you a quid pro quo for this campaign fund. That would actually be considered corruption. And he could have backed off from that. So it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, and I agree with all of that. But my thing is, with going back to what he's up against. Now, I named all these people and their offspring for a reason. What I'm trying to say is that the DNA does not stray too far from the strand. Okay, if we don't clean it up, and I basically think Trump don't know what he's doing, but he's trying to figure it out as he goes. But the one thing he does know how to do is punch back, and it's stirring up the crap storm, and I'm enjoying it. Okay, because they're not able to run around and do what they want to do, and pretend that that they're gods among men either. Okay, so I say if Bill screws, and if Joe the Creep screws, and Hunter screws, and Chelsea screws, then we all deserve to screw. All right, that's just the way I feel about it. So, my thing is, and the thing you said about, I thought you made a valid point, but I think you're a little behind the times on it when you said yesterday that, you saw where Israel could come in and fill the void with the Kurds. Man, the Mossad has been embedded with Barzani and the Kurds for 40 years. There's no mistake that
the
Kurds
Mossad
have the
is
richest
embedded
part
with
of
pretty much
Syria.
everybody. Anyway, listen,
Everybody.
Lenny, we're going to have to let you go. Got to take another break here for commercials. We've got more callers waiting on the line, and we will be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
How healthy are your arteries? Deteriorating circulation has a number of early warning signs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, fingers and or toes often go cold, arms and or legs often go to sleep, sharp diagonal crease in the earlobe, short walks cause cramping or pains in legs, memory is not as good as it used to be, ankles swell late in the day, chest pain after physical exercise or emotional stress. If you experience even one of these symptoms, your circulatory system is crying out for attention. Extendivite is a natural solution to help improve your overall health. Extendivite is not your average heart tonic. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. We'll plant them anywhere you like and blow up anyone. Whip this world into a frenzy, killing babies, dads, and moms. If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. If you got the money, well, we won't say we did. The towers in
And aloha, America. And I know we have a caller on the line, but I can't scroll back. And Alan in Hickory Hills, Illinois. Aloha, Alan. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Okay. Hello to you, sir. The reason I'm calling is I would like to express sort of a distaff opinion about this issue of global warming.
Yes.
Now, I'll tell you what I think. I think that global warming is a symptom and the real cause is overpopulation. Now, let me tell you why that's not a crank idea. The issue is that the lawyers in this world can't make any money suing on the issue of overpopulation, but they can make trillions suing corporations and pretending that corporations are the cause of global warming. So I see this Greta Thunberg. She, to me, is sort of like a Shirley Temple character that's being used to pretend that this movement, this climate change movement, is all goody two-shoes and there's no evil motive. But there is an evil motive, and the motive is to pretend corporations are responsible, and then you can pretend that corporations are liable, and then you can sue corporations and you can destroy them. Now, a long time ago, General Motors was sued over the issue of the Chevy Corvair, and they ended up going bankrupt. And people said, well, it's the world's biggest corporation. It won't hurt for long. But what's happening now is GM is kind of back up on their feet, but they're not able to make their pension payout.
Well, they froze their pension, and even worse, they can't manufacture spare parts right now. So good luck getting your vehicles fixed.
Yes. Okay. So in other words, there are other symptoms besides the fact that we're losing our pensions. Now that Ralph Nader guy, he began this tsunami when he said the Corvair was unsafe at any speed. I heard him on a radio show in Los Angeles years ago, and he said very coarsely, he said, if you want to cut down on the birth rate, put the woman to work. And he was speaking to a lesbian on National Public Radio, and the lesbian said, shush, they'll hear you. And by they, of course, she meant white people who were paying taxes. And I'll tell you how Ralph Nader responded. This ruthless monster said, I can say that out here. So you see, this issue of going after, that's right. Pretending corporations are evil is a very dangerous, very self-destructive thing. And if we don't cut back on law schools and cut down their enrollment and start closing them, these lawyers, there is no end to the evil that they're going to perpetrate. So it's not global warming. The issue is overpopulation. The carrying capacity of the United States is only 190 million people. We're 100 million over the top. We've got red algae on both sides of the Florida Peninsula. We've got flesh-eating bacteria in the water around Washington, D.C. Now, let me close. I got just one more quick statement. A 10-year-old girl died in Texas recently because she went for a dip in a pond connected to a river in Texas, and she thought the water was clean and fresh, and she died from an amoeba infection. And they mentioned it very briefly, but there was no, you know what I'm saying? Greta Thunberg there's talk of giving her a Nobel Prize, but when there's evidence that our water is totally polluted, that's all on page 11, and it's all being kept secret. And in fact, in California, if you water your lawn and you wash your clothes on the same day, you're going to get a fine because they have smart meters, and there's just no fresh water anywhere in the United States. So that's my comment.
Well, that's a problem that should be solved here. I mean, we need a Manhattan Project scale project to start producing clean, safe water, but we're too busy building all these bombs and tanks and, cruise missiles and the rest of it. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that the human population is too large, and the reason for that is very simple. Sex is a lot more fun than dying. But to come on out and say corporations are not evil is complete, utter nonsense. Some are not. I think right now a lot of Boeing investors are thinking that Boeing was an evil corporation for taking those reckless chances with the MAX 8. Certainly Ralph Nader was correct about the Corvair. I think right now, if you ask anybody who owns an iPhone, they're probably going to think that Apple is an evil corporation, probably along with Microsoft. They're, corporations are run by people whose primary responsibility is profit to the stockholder, not necessarily to the customer. And from this, we get things like planned obsolescence and products that really aren't very good for us. They're not very, very, very safe. So some corporations are good. Some corporations are not good. It's not an absolute.
Well, I can agree with you to the point where one time you made a remark that you said Skype was a conspiracy and it's getting clumsier and clumsier because they want to go commercial, and that's why they're making it awkward. So I do agree with your comment about Skype. I'm not in agreement about the other things that you believe, but I think maybe the thing for me to do is just hang up now, because I've said my piece, and you can just keep on ranting on whatever you want to rant about. Okay?
All right. Well, thank you very much for describing it as a rant. I certainly wouldn't have done that, but then that's just me here. I mean, you know, there are good corporations, there are bad corporations. I mean, look at all those people over at like USAMRIID. You know, they're not curing the common cold over there. Look at CDC. A lot of people are under the mistaken impression that CDC is somehow a part of the U.S. government and they're concerned with the health of the American people. They're not. They're a privately owned corporation, and they own patents on something like 30 different vaccines, which every year they'll come out and say, yes, you must get vaccinated. Get this vaccine now. They're making billions of dollars pushing this stuff, and nobody really knows if it's safe or not. Okay, so let's get on back here to this situation that is taking place over in Syria and Turkey, and the Syrians are fleeing the Turkish airstrikes. Congressional leaders, our congressional leaders are out there saying that Erdogan will pay a heavy price. So already the lines are being drawn up on who's going to be on whose side. And what is really looking kind of interesting, you know, it wasn't all that long ago, we were on Syria's side. We were on the side of the Kurds. And now all of a sudden, we're not really sure here. Now, the Syrian Democratic Forces are actually openly seeking cooperation with Assad. And I noticed in this headline from Southfront that they made a point of describing him as bloody Assad. Oh, he's bloody Assad. How could they even think about doing business with him here? So the war is definitely on. It's definitely bloody. Interesting little story that came on out from taskandpurpose.com. The U.S. military has dropped more bombs on Afghanistan in the last month than it has since 2010. That's a lot of bombs. Remember, it wasn't all that long ago. They were talking about making peace. Donald Trump was talking about peace talks, bringing our troops home from Afghanistan, or perhaps repurposing them someplace else. And apparently, as we understand the story, John Bolton put the screws to that, which is why he got fired. Because Bolton loves wars, as long as somebody else has to pay for them and fight in them. Now, here's a very interesting little story, and it shows the weakness of America's military policy. China has just announced the end of U.S. primacy in the Pacific. Now, for decades, the United States has sort of taken China's ballistic missile capacity for granted, saying it's a low capability force, limited regional impact, no strategic value. We could just take them out with one hand tied behind our back. But apparently back on the 1st of October, during a massive military parade celebrating the 70th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China, Beijing rolled out this new nuclear missile, which is a game changer. And basically this article is saying China may have nullified America's strategic nuclear deterrent, the U.S. Pacific Fleet, and the U.S. missile defense capability. And the reason is very, very simple. They have been spending all their money on developing new weapons, not running around the world killing a whole bunch of other people. That's where things fell apart. The United States is maintaining all these bases all over the world. They're trying to build these new high-tech weapons. They don't have enough money to do the job properly, which is why we've got like the Zumwalt, not quite as stealthy as we'd like to store, the F-35, the F-22. We've been down that list the whole time. And the other problem that they're dealing with right now has to do with diversity and gender equality. And I can tell already a lot of people are not going to like this next thing, okay? Because you've got a lot of women saying, I'm the equivalent of men and I'm going to join the army, which, okay, if that's what you want to do. Personally, I think women do better in the Navy and the Air Force where there's some mechanized support. But apparently, 84% of women are failing the Army combat fitness test, and all the political correctness and wishful thinking in the world isn't going to change that. That's called the real world. Alrighty. Palestinians have launched a campaign trying to end Facebook's attack on Palestinian content. And Palestinians said that Facebook was giving in to the Israeli government's influence to suppress the Palestinian narrative and was adopting the occupiers' definition of what incitement is. Which definitely, when you go on in and you let Israel decide, you know, what the bad behavior is, yeah, going to get that here. Let me send a quick message to somebody. Let's see. All right, here we are. All right, now, this is a fun story. Well, it's not really fun. In fact, it shows how stupid military people can be. This happened about 5 years ago when the Swedish Navy got their knickers in a twist over a supposed Russian submarine that was tooling around their waters. And Navy basically went to the government. They got a whole bunch of money to deploy a lot of equipment looking for this Russian sub, these evil Russian subs, and they never found it. Okay, the top brass assured the public it was not for lack of a foreign intrusion. We know it was there. We didn't find it, but we know it was there. It actually turned out that the data that led to this claim of a Russian sub came from a local civilian boat. Sweden's Navy got their money, and that's all that really matters if you think about it. It's all that money. It's more money for the military-industrial complex, less money for your pockets, less money for the schools, less money for the hospitals, because that's what makes our country great, is building things that go boom here. Speaking of boom, and this is where the situation is starting to get a little bit tense, over Lebanon last night, apparently an Israeli warplane was preparing to bomb a site inside of Syria. They were stopped. They were intercepted by a Russian fighter jet. And that shows you just how dangerous this whole situation is getting. Alrighty. All right, let's see. Let's talk about impeachment. This thing is still up there. And let's see where we are so far. We have anonymous witnesses. We have the only proven connection from Ukraine to the Hillary campaign. And there's no there. So Rudy Giuliani is out there saying that no administration officials will testify or provide documents to the impeachment probe unless Adam Schiff is removed as House Intel Committee chairman, because it's very obvious Adam Schiff, his fangs are bared, he's drooling, he wants Trump, no question about that. So now they're basically attacking each other's personnel and saying, no, we're not moving forward. And again, I want to hit this point very, very, very hard. Okay, there is no such thing in the Constitution as an impeachment probe or inquiry. That belongs under the Department of Justice. That's why Trump is out there saying, have an impeachment vote. If you've got something you can impeach me on, vote the impeachment through. Otherwise, it's over. It's all done. Apparently, a Republican congressman from Louisiana has introduced a resolution calling for the expulsion of Speaker Nancy Pelosi from the House of Representatives, saying her impeachment probe against the president must be stopped. I would agree on that one. All right, let's take a phone call. Tony in Puerto Rico, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, Mike. I want to change the subject a little bit. I want to talk about Turkey. Do they still control those American nukes? And will they use them if they have to?
I don't think Turkey is in control of the U.S. nukes. I think the U.S. is still in control of the U.S. nukes. And hang on a second. I need to... there we go. All right. So we're fine. Yeah, I don't know who's really in charge. God, I hate. There it is. This iPhone is driving me crazy. It's absolutely driving me crazy. All right, we got to take a break here for commercials, and we'll be back in just a little while.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Anne, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Talk Right, the conservative app offered by TalkStream Live that caters exclusively to the conservative talk radio community. Here you'll see only talk shows and podcasts from the conservative right. All the big broadcast names and online digital shows in one place. Talk Right makes it easy to find all your favorite conservative talkers with all the upscale features you come to expect from TalkStream Live. Keep up with the fast-paced political world. Download Talk Right today from Google Play or the App Store.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're coming up on the top of the hour here. We're talking about this impeachment nonsense, which is just filled with anonymous witnesses, tenuous links, investigations that seem to go nowhere. And there are more and more revelations coming on out. This thing, I think, is going to blow up in the Democrats' faces. It's going to be as bad as Russiagate or Spygate was, or all the rest of it. And apparently a new report from the Washington Examiners revealed that the supposed anonymous CIA whistleblower had a significant connection to a 2020 Democratic presidential candidate who is challenging President Donald Trump in the election. Gee, I wonder who that might be. Anyway. Interestingly enough, according to a recent Reuters Ipsos poll, most Democrats are so desperate to impeach Donald Trump that they're even willing to risk their party's chances of winning back the White House in the 2020 election. That's not even good politics. This is personal. This is spite. We need to get this guy, and yes, so what if we ram the ship into an iceberg and sink? It doesn't really matter. It's very, very bad thinking. Okay, story over here from American Thinker. Here's why Hillary is running again in 2020, and she has actually ramped up her campaign since 2016. And she is still running around insisting that she actually won the 2016 popular vote by 3 million votes, but because of that gosh darn Constitution thing and Russia, she was robbed of her rightful prize and place in history. Well, I'm sorry, Hillary, but the Constitution is the Constitution. And had you actually won the election, they would have made you swear an oath to preserve, protect, and defend that Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Now, apparently, Hillary's already out there teasing a 2020 run, saying, obviously, I can beat him again. Hillary, you haven't beat him yet. You lost the election. And we still don't know how many illegal immigrants voted in that. Should have found out. That should have been one of the most important questions that was out there. Trump should have dealt with that issue, and he didn't. It's like, I look at the way Trump is handling the immigration issue, how he's handling the election integrity issue, and it's almost like he enjoys campaigning. He enjoys getting on out there and making the speeches, but it's like there's a part of him that's saying, I really don't want to do another 4 years of this, so we'll let somebody else come on in there. Now, Hillary Clinton said no president would seek help. Oh, my goodness, we have to take a break for station identification, and we will be right back.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, the history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 3. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. Now, here is an interesting little development. First of all, I was just looking at the online news here, where Biden is already out there screaming Trump has to be impeached now. We've got to impeach him now. And basically, he is panicking because Lindsey Graham has just revealed that he is opening an investigation into the firing of Viktor Shokin. This is that top Ukrainian prosecutor Biden boasted about having forced the Ukrainians to fire all the way back in 2016. And apparently John Solomon has dropped a little bit of a bomb, information that was omitted from the whistleblower report, and that was that Ukraine was reopening the probe into Hunter Biden's company all the way back in February, long before the phone call involving Donald Trump. So that is definitely there. Now, Hillary Clinton said that no president would seek help from a foreign government in an election. Bill Clinton did. Bill Clinton asked Tony Blair to take a look at fixing a problem during the 2000 political season. All right, we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a phone call from Cliff in Indiana. Aloha, Cliff. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Mike, you look like you're feeling a little bit better every day.
I really am. It's nice having a doctor in the family, and they're telling me it's going to take about 4 months for me to really sort of get back to my normal, obnoxious, annoying, irritating self.
Yeah, it takes time to.
Yeah.
Good wine takes time. Couple of things. Number one, is your PO box the same as the same one that you established earlier here in Indiana?
Yes, it is. That's our new permanent address, and it's on the donations page.
All right, very good. And the last donation I sent, did it come through okay at that address?
I think it did, but because I don't have the papers here, I'm doing the show here from somebody else's house and my portable office and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and what I'm going to do, first of all, let me make it very, very clear. If I get a donation electronically, you get an electronic reply immediately, and if you don't, there's a problem. For everybody who's been sending in paper donations, and there have been quite a few, the first thing I am going to do when I get that machine and that printer back up and running is I'm going to start sending out thank you notes to everybody for all the kindness that you've shown us.
Yeah, and I certainly don't care about that. I just want to make sure that it's getting to you, so it won't help you if it doesn't get there.
That's true.
The other thing I'd like to bring up, I don't know if you're aware of it. Yeah, I know you know who Joe Bannister is.
Yes.
He was the criminal investigator for the IRS that did his own investigation and found out he couldn't find the law that requires American citizens to file.
Yep.
He's got a new book out that is just astounding. It is entitled Investigating the Federal Income Tax, a report to the American people. I don't know if you've seen that or had a chance to look at it, but it is just absolutely astounding, the information and the exhibits he's put together in that book.
I haven't seen it yet. I definitely will take a look at it. I mean, right now there are so many groups, individuals out there who are well aware that the income tax is as much a lie as Saddam's weapons of mass destruction or Assad's sarin gas. It's just a way of taking money away from you and giving it to the military-industrial complex.
That's very true. I didn't know if you'd seen it or not. Also, when y'all get settled, let us know, and we'd like to come down and buy you guys dinner. But wait till you're settled and ready to do such thing.
Well, thank you very much here. I think probably another week, and we're still finding power cords. These people who packed up at the Hawaii end, they just threw things in different boxes, and I'm trying to get it sorted out. Anyway, Cliff, thanks an awful lot for the information. I will look up that book by Joe Bannister. We've had him on the show a couple of times here, and maybe we'll get him back on here again. Okay, so
Thanks,
getting on
Mike.
back.
Take care.
Thanks an awful lot, Cliff. Thank you very much for the information. Apparently, Planned Parenthood is launching a $45 million campaign to try and flip the U.S. Senate and defeat Donald Trump. I want to get on out there. We've got to have more abortions. We've got to have baby parts to sell. How can we make money if we don't have little baby parts to sell? I don't know. You ever thought about like opening a catering company or something? Barbecue place? All right, here's a story. This came out of Hideout Now. And I'm going to have to sort of be very careful with the language involved here because it involves language that would get the licenses pulled from our on-air affiliates. And it begins, oh, blank. What stunned FBI agents said when they found 340,000 emails between Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin while examining Anthony Weiner's electronic devices for these explicit messages with a 15-year-old girl. And apparently, most of these emails between Hillary and Huma were using the HillaryClinton.com address, her private email server. And basically, this is 10 times the volume of emails that former FBI Director James Comey had claimed they'd found on the machine. So again, we got lied to again. Oh my goodness, what a big surprise. We got lied to again here. James Stewart's new book, Deep State, Trump, the FBI, and the Rule of Law, is out today. And Stewart also reveals that former Comey had deep concerns about the impartiality of former Attorney General Loretta Lynch. Well, gee, you think? I mean, first of all, when Comey had his little press conference where he went down the laundry list of all these felony Title 18 violations Hillary did, then at the end he says, she didn't mean to do wrong, therefore we're not recommending indictments. Well, first of all, Title 18 does not require intent. Accident and stupidity count, and it's not the FBI's job to recommend prosecution. That's the Department of Justice. So obviously Comey was working with Loretta Lynch and obviously knew ahead of time that she was not impartial. All right, over in Los Angeles, apparently 3 years ago, LA taxpayers approved $1.2 billion with a B for homeless housing. Anybody care to guess how many units have actually been built? Let's not all we see the same hands. None. Zero, zip, nada. And they're trying to put off the blame to higher than expected costs, consultants, financing. Gee, we meant well with this $1.2 billion, but they literally have not built a single housing unit for the homeless people. I'll tell you, when we left Oahu, this light rail system was still embroiled in controversy. Apparently, there's a federal investigation looking into that. And the opinion of most people around there was, it's never going to get completed. We're going to have this ugly, hideous, elevated track running across the south side of the island, and there'll never be a train on it. That's going to be a shame. All right, talking about the economic news here, job openings plunged to a 17-month low. 17 months. There's a slide in hiring. There are people who are basically quitting their jobs. They're retiring. Fact of the matter is, there is a job market slowdown. And like I said earlier in the program, if the economy implodes, the Democrats are going to blame Donald Trump for it. Oh, he's the one who did it. It's all his fault. Obama left the economy in absolute wonderful shape. No, he didn't. I mean, history likes to blame Herbert Hoover for the Depression of the 1930s, but Hoover did not create the Depression of the 1930s. It was created for him, and we're dealing with exactly the same thing here with Donald Trump. Trump did not create the current economic conditions. These go back earlier than Obama. They go back all the way to the Resolution Trust Corporation, the S&L bailout, and all of that. All right, apparently American Airlines has now joined Southwest in abandoning all hope that the 737 MAX will fly again this year. Of course, it is October. There's 2 months more to go here. But I don't think they're going to get that thing into the commercial market ever again after the bad press. I think they're going to paint it gray, and they're going to find a military application for it. And you have to wonder what's going on, whether it is Apple or Android or Microsoft or Boeing, is that they let the legacy engineers, us old white guys who grew up knowing how to make it all work, and they said, well, you're all gone. We're going to hire in all these H-1B visa students, and we'll just tell them, make it look better, make it look spiffier, and we'll all make a lot of money. And I got to tell you, certainly from the point of view of the latest version of Apple's operating system, it's a mess here. But apparently they're saying that the 737 MAX, they don't think it will fly again this year. And what was really stupid is when you put those really big engines on that wing, and in order to get ground clearance, you push them forward, of course they're going to act like canards and tip the entire wing and aircraft back. And none of these H-1B hot, students thought about that. Did anybody think about maybe doing a wind tunnel test? It's just amazing here. Now, here's another dumb decision by an airline. This is Virgin Atlantic, and they have this in-flight entertainment system. Not to mention the MBA people. Oh, okay, we got that one here. So Virgin Atlantic has this in-flight entertainment system, and it shows TV shows and movies and games and all the rest of it. But for some reason, they built in a system where passengers sitting in their seats on the aircraft can send messages to other passengers. And I'm sure at some board meeting, somebody said, this is going to be like a really good idea, get people to join the Mile High Club or something like that. But apparently this woman, 24 years old, was receiving these sexually harassing messages on this in-flight entertainment system. Somebody did not think this all the way through, because if you put that kind of a capability in there, yeah, it's going to get abused. Those flights across the oceans and continents, they're long, they're boring. People start getting into the, oh, what can I do to keep myself amused here situation. Now, I'll be very honest. We had a very nice flight from Hawaii to Los Angeles, not quite so good from Los Angeles to here in Indiana. All right, I mentioned that, actually one of our callers mentioned this earlier. The pension apocalypse begins as General Electric freezes benefits for 20,000 employees. So pensions are having a problem there. Apparently the coal industry buried, and 5 more plants closed in Illinois. The steel industry is imploding as another plant closes in Louisiana. Well, by golly, we'd better get a war going here, because nothing powers a war like coal and steel and all that other stuff. All right, we have a caller on the line, John in Rancho Cucamonga. Aloha, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, good afternoon, Mike. I was trying to get do a browser search on that topic that you brought up right near the end of your show yesterday, definitely.
Yes.
And I think you also mentioned it 1 or 2 days previously regarding a photographer, and I think you said it was in Arizona somewhere. And
Phoenix.
In Phoenix. Oh, okay. I didn't put that in my browser search, but I just put down, white guy who was shot and killed by 3 black guys because he used the word
black
nigger.
and white. Leave out black and white. Just say 3 teens shoot photographer, and you'll get the story.
3 teens shoot what?
Photographer.
Photographer. Okay, and don't even say Phoenix. I guess it wouldn't hurt to say Phoenix, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You don't recall offhand, do you? What your link to that was offhand? Just.
It's probably on either page 2 or 3 of the main page. I'd have to go back and hunt it down. And I don't actually know what the racial makeup of the perpetrators and the photographer were. So I think it's being a little bit inaccurate to say white photographer shot by 3 black teenagers, because I think what triggered the shooting was the photographer saying, "You can't use the N-word, you're not black." So at least one of the people pulling the triggers had somewhat pale skin. So, but I'm sure you'll find the story.
Okay, all right. So that's on your website somewhere, is that right?
Yeah, but again, just use a search engine and say 3 teens shoot photographer, and you'll find it.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot.
All right. You've got it there. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. Boy, what a tiring day it's been here. Talking about the economic news here, Turkey has now joined with Russia's ruble-based alternative to SWIFT. And we're seeing it happen more and more, that the rest of the world is sick and tired of the sanctions. They're sick and tired of tariffs. They're sick and tired of the U.S. Federal Reserve note being weaponized. They are learning how to conduct business without the United States of America. And that is definitely not going to help the economy. I think this country is headed for some really, really major problems, which, again, the Democrats are going to blame on Trump. All right, over in Germany, their Interior Minister Horst Seehofer is saying that the refugee explosion, even greater than 2015, is about to hit Europe. They're just pouring on in, and they don't know what to do with them all. See what happens here. Okay, this one's a little bit out there, I think. It has to do with what are called jumpsuits, which are considered fashionable attire for a wide variety of circumstances. Originally, of course, they were made for skydivers, hence the name jumpsuit. and I find them very comfortable. I wear them myself occasionally. So here's where it gets kind of interesting. There's this weird story, and it came on out from Your Destination Now, where apparently a 17-year-old girl wearing a jumpsuit instead of a dress was kicked out of the senior homecoming dance. Now, here is the question I have. Are we not supposed to be in this era of gender equality and fluidity? So why would it be a problem for this teenage girl to wear a jumpsuit and get kicked out of the dance? It doesn't make any sense at all. We got to take a break for commercials. We'll be right back.
It happens more often than we can imagine. In my case, I was sitting at home, and out of nowhere, I just started feeling uncomfortable. Then it got worse, and I started perspiring. I tried to ignore it, but I waited too long. The chest pain came as we were driving to the hospital emergency. I felt my life clock begin to tick. I barely survived. There was lots of damage done to my heart. What do I do now? I was lucky. I took a leap of faith and tried a 7-herb formula with hawthorn, garlic, cayenne, and more called Extendivite. Herbs have been used for thousands of years to keep us healthy. If you're not using Extendivite as a preventative supplement, maybe it's time to start. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Join Mike on the air. Call toll-free 800-313-9443. 800-313-9443.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. And if you are out in California, you may not be hearing this show. Apparently, they're dealing with some major windstorms out there to the point where PG&E is voluntarily shutting down the power lines to avoid the wildfires that they got the last time this happened. And they're saying it could be as long as a week before this all gets put back together. So let's hear it for that amazing American infrastructure and how well it's all being cared for. Okay, now as you know, the gun grabbers love to go on in there talking about the AK-47 and the AR-15, and you know, these dangerous military style weapons, and who could even want one of these. And I wouldn't mind an AR myself. I tried to build one. I botched it. I'll be honest, I botched it. I gave the parts away. But apparently the numbers from last year are in from the FBI. And as it turns out, surprise, 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 the AR rifles and other long guns are some of the safest items Americans own. Why is that? Well, because people don't walk into a convenience store with an AK-47 to hold it up. They go on in there with, like, a revolver, a wheel gun, or a small automatic pistol, something concealable. It's just common sense. The reason the gun grabbers are obsessed with the AR rifles and the AKs is because they're concerned that we, the American people, may be getting a little upset with them, which we are. Let's be honest. Things are getting a little tense out there. Apparently over in Virginia, parents are rejecting the public school system in favor of homeschooling. Good for them. I hope that the Virginia government doesn't try and pass a law making it illegal. A lot of states already have. A lot of states have passed laws saying, no, you will not homeschool. You will bring your child to our school and we will indoctrinate them. And I think there's a good reason to homeschool, and probably this is a good one. Why maybe you ought to homeschool here. Apparently, Drexel University has agreed with the Department of Justice to pay back $189,062 in federal grant funding misused by the school's former head of electrical and computer engineering for what is politely referred to as goods and services from strip clubs. Just amazing here. We ran a flashback story, and I ran it getting back to that idea of are corporations good or are they evil? Are they in between? Are some good? Are some evil? I tend to think it's the last one. So there was this flashback story. This came out of Vaccine News back in 2015, in which the CDC admitted, remember, the CDC is a private corporation. They're not part of the United States government. And the CDC admitted 98 million Americans were given a polio shot contaminated with a cancer-causing virus called simian yaculinating virus 40, SV40. Now, the CDC took down the page. Google censored it, but by that time it was already out there. So getting on back to computers here, and just how angering and frustrating the latest Windows 10 is, the latest iOS 0.1.3, the golden cut. Story on that one. Apparently over on the MacBook Pro, the Catalina update there is forcing the MacBook Pro into perpetual restart cycles. They just go over and over and over again. And by the way, this Windows 10 machine here, when I go to the little icon to shut down, it won't shut down. It restarts. I literally have to hold down the power button and shut it down that way. It's just crazy how bad this stuff has become here. All right, you're going to love this story. This came out of the Hacker News. And after exposing private tweets and plain text passwords and personal information for hundreds of thousands of its users, there is a new security blunder Twitter admitted to today. Twitter has announced that the phone numbers and email addresses of some users provided for two-factor authentication had been used for targeted advertising purposes. They were sold for advertisers. Now, Twitter is saying it was unintentional. We didn't intend to do it. Really honest, we didn't intend to do it. And if you remember that story that we ran yesterday about how apparently security researchers have already found a way for hackers to get past two-factor authentication. So it's getting just a little bit crazy out there. All right, we're going to take another break here for commercials, and we'll be back with the rest of our show after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. It really does work like the review says it does. I cannot believe that after the first few days, I didn't feel as sluggish or clogged up. It has had a profound impact on my physical, emotional well-being. I'm skeptical as most people about products and their claims, and I never write reviews, but this is a wonderful product and I recommend it to everyone. Great product. It has brought my blood pressure from the mid-150s over the 80s to the mid-130s over mid-80s, along with diet and exercise in just the past couple of months. Excellent. Thank you, David. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com. Or to speak with a trained consultant. Give Angioprim a call at 954-882-7221. That's 954-882-7221.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal reveal what's really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Now, apparently over at Google, they are working on a project. In fact, they're calling it a Manhattan Project that will create a godlike artificial intelligence that will monitor everything that you do. Of course, left out of that is the discussion about, do I want some machine monitoring everything that I do? And the answer is most resoundingly, no, I don't. I'm a very private person. I don't want Google watching me when I go to the bathroom, for example. But I think Google is overselling the project because remember, artificial intelligence, when they talk about it, they're talking about very narrow context systems that are able to learn from narrow sets of data, although that certainly doesn't work on the Weather Channel. The idea of a generalized artificial intelligence that is self-aware and sentient, that's still decades away. That is definitely decades away. Okay, a little bit of good news from India. We mentioned earlier in the show, they've had an orbiter around Mars for 5 years. Way to go, India. Now, as you know, a little while ago, they had this probe called the Chandrayaan-2 probe. And it's orbiting the moon over the, from north to the South Pole, lost its lander, unfortunately, but it is sending back the highest resolution photos ever taken of the moon from orbit. So India is just doing an absolute bang-up job there. I feel really bad about losing the landers, but space flight is hard. Space flight is very, very, very difficult. Well, apparently NASA and Elon Musk are not getting along all that well. Now, SpaceX has never actually flown a person into space in its Crew Dragon, which is its first crew-capable spacecraft, but the company is already showing off its much bigger, much shinier cousin, the Starship, built in Boca Chica, a coastal village at the southwestern tip of Texas, as part of a plan to carry giant crews into deep space. And NASA's administration is a little bit annoyed because even though the Crew Dragon is still very much in the works, it is well behind schedule. And I got to tell you, I have a comment about Elon Musk. He's obviously a very, very brilliant man. But he's got to learn how to decide what it is he wants to do. And right now, I mean, his latest goof with the Tesla and the summon feature. I mean, this thing is crashing into vehicles. All righty, another story, this one coming on out of CuzBlue, apparently supporting Greta Thunberg, the new archangel of the global warming movement, is now considered evidence of white privilege, according to racism activists. Well, thank goodness, because I don't support her, therefore I'm not a racist. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Alrighty, now apparently there are some issues developing over in the campaign here where Democratic donors are leaking to the press that Biden's a weak front runner, which means they're already handing him his hat to give him the heave-ho, and that'll put Elizabeth Warren in second place, Elizabeth Warren in first place, Hillary Clinton in second place. Elizabeth Warren is not going to survive the regurgitation of her little Indian faux pas, Pocahontas here. Not to mention that one that she just came up with the other day about being fired for being visibly pregnant. And by the way, on the front page of whatreallyhappened.com, there's this amazing video. It was done with CGI. And it's Elizabeth Warren singing and dancing with a bunch of Indians, and it'll fracture you. It is that funny. So you got to hunt that thing down there. That is really good. All righty. Apparently homeschooling is starting in public school in Baltimore. I don't know how they're going to make that one work here. Turkish forces have launched a military attack against Kurds at the Syrian border. We certainly know about that one here. Jihadi Jack's mom moans her ISIS son will be slaughtered in the Turkish invasion as the Kurds vow to use human shields. Well, bad things happen in war. You know, I'm sorry, what can I tell you here? Trump is once again out there threatening to wipe out Turkey's economy as the full ground invasion begins. Donald, you got this thing going here. So apparently Russian film crews found a hastily abandoned U.S. base in Syria, and they made a video about it, calling it a ghost town. The Americans are gone. The Americans are. It doesn't look all that big. We had that caller who called on in and said it's only be about 50 Americans who are leaving. That's about the size of this building. Now, this next one, I'm a little bit sorry to say. Fox News has dropped Trey Gowdy after the veteran prosecutor joins the Trump legal team. Now, obviously, I think that's very good for Trump that Trey Gowdy is doing this, but I think it probably would have been a little bit more appropriate for Fox to say, let's work out some kind of an agreement where you're here part-time and you're on the other side part-time here. Apparently, there's been yet another leaker, this one from the Defense Intelligence Agency, charged for sharing classified intel with journalists. Boy, it's just out here. Okay, apparently the land offensive is on in Turkey. Trump already is in agreement on the need for sanctions against Turkey, and he wants something tougher. I don't know what Trump thinks he's accomplishing here. I don't know. It's not making any sense. Unless he's looking for a reason to invade Turkey, take it back over. And maybe that's what's going on here. So anyway, apparently U.S. Congress hotheads want to kick Turkey out of NATO, which would be a necessary first step to getting Turkey to be invaded by the United States here. And interesting, I like this little story that came on out here. When social media stops being social, how Twitter and Facebook have rendered Americans uncivil, insecure, and rude. This is from Russia Today. And they may absolutely be right, because something has changed the social dynamic of the American people. All right, images from northeastern Syria. And remember, we mentioned the U.S. has pulled out the air support over there. Civilians are fleeing the Turkish Operation Peace Spring. And we mentioned this earlier in the show. The leader of Iran is saying Iran will not build, store, or use nuclear weapons because it is forbidden by Islam. And remember, throughout all of that talk about, you know, the P5+1, we got to pull out of the deal and everything, the IAEA never found any indication that Iran was experimenting with nuclear weapons. The only thing they ever found was called the laptop of death, which turned out to be a frame-up job by Israel. Pictures of civilians fleeing the Syrian border. This is just going to be so ugly, and I feel so bad for these people and all that they're going through. And it's not their fault. It's not like they did something to deserve any of this. Alrighty, so let's see what we've got here. Scott Adams, who, as you're aware, is the creator of the Dilbert comic strip, is out there saying, is the United States becoming third world? And I would say probably, yeah. Now, Trump is actually out there saying we went to war under false and now disproven premise. When have we not done that? The USS Maine was not sunk by a Spanish mine. There were no torpedoes on the Gulf of Tonkin. The Lusitania was smuggling weapons to Great Britain. Saddam did not have nuclear weapons. Assad did not have sarin gas. When have we not used a lie to start a war? At least Trump is out there saying that the U.S. wars in the Middle East are the worst decision ever. Maybe he actually is going to do it. Maybe he's just going to pull the plug on all of this stuff and figures that the relief from that is going to offset the damage from the economy. The problem is, and if Trump's Secret Service are listening, if he tries to pull the plug on all the wars, he's going to be at risk. Because remember, that was a big part of what happened to John F. Kennedy and to the president of Vietnam, Diem Bien Thu, I think his name was, that happened just a couple of weeks before that. Those military-industrial complex people, they want their money. They want their wars, and they don't care who they have to kill to get them. Okay. Getting another one of these. This is from Government Slaves. I wish they'd get this over with. And maybe I'm coming from this position that I already know what's going on here. But apparently the chief scientist of NASA is now pre-warning Earthlings that life exists on Mars and will probably be formally announced in the next 2 years, but says, you humans, you're not ready for the bombshell. Now, do you remember those meteorites they found down in Antarctica that seem to have microbes in them, fossil microbes? But I mean, I don't think this guy understands how much he's damaging NASA. Of course, those of us who work there, we all know that NASA stands for Never a Straight Answer. If you know the life is there, announce it. And I know why they're not doing it. It's if they say there's life on Mars, there's life out there on the other planets, there's life out there in the universe, the human race is going to say, great, let's stop killing each other and go on out and find it. Because the reason we're killing each other right now is we're running out of room here on planet Earth. Well, let's go someplace where there's a lot more room. Let's go to Mars. Let's go to the Jovian moons. It's just pre-warning Earthlings. What an absurd idea. I got to get Dr. Gilbert Levin back on the show. I really do. I really, really do. Okay. Let me take a look at this. This is a current story. The World Health Organization is admitting that the polio outbreak in the Philippines is caused by the polio vaccines. Don't forget to get your shots. So Scott Adams, is California a third world country? Yeah, I think so. Roger Waters, NGOs, and many others condemned the revoking of Amazonian lawyer Stephen Donziger's law license. And apparently this lawyer fought to clean up Chevron's environmental oil disaster in Ecuador, a very nice thing to do. And boy, you want to talk about, there's an evil corporation right there. This guy wanted to clean up Chevron's environmental disaster in Ecuador, and they basically just arranged for him to lose his law license. That's not good behavior. That's not good behavior. Ron Paul was out there with a video earlier today basically saying the Federal Reserve's latest bailouts are more proof that bad times are ahead. Now, the American stock market today did kind of sort of okay in the green, but apparently the Asian markets are taking a major tankorama right now. So it will be interesting to see what happens when the markets open tomorrow. I don't think they can hold it together much longer. And again, when it blows apart, they're going to blame Donald Trump. Okay, apparently over at the New York Slimes, a bunch of reporters there got together and wrote a book on Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh and what a terrible person he was and all the horrible things he did. And apparently it bombed. It's a turkey. Nobody wants to buy it. Nobody wants to buy it. All righty. Now, as you're probably already aware, there's been a lot of talk about the so-called vaping craze, the e-cig craze, and people who have died from it. Now, obviously, for the traditional conventional tobacco company, they wish the e-cigs would go away, and they have been putting a lot of money into advertising, trying to say that vitamin E, that a variant on vitamin E, may be what's causing these accidents, but apparently researchers are saying that no, vitamin E likely isn't the culprit in the vaping related ailments. You need to understand, a lot of advertising you see on TV is somebody trying to demonize their competitors' products so that you will come back over and you will buy their product. No, you don't want to buy that thing over there. All right, we're going to grab ourselves a quick little telephone call here from Chris in Clearwater. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, the polio outbreak in the Philippines story you mentioned, yes, Mike, that I remember broke about a month or so ago. Well, you know, I've gotten a debate with folks online, and they say, well, it's because the polio vaccine has, by the way, it's type 2 of the strain of the virus, of the polio virus. Yes. And they say, well, it's because those who are not vaccinated contract the type 2 polio vaccine-derived polio, and they're the ones in whom the virus mutates, and then it spreads to other people. Well, my question is, number one, it's always noted that due to areas of poor sanitation, that's where that's alleged to have happened.
Okay, but Chris, I got to put you on hold.
Why vaccinate?
Chris, I got to put you on hold.
You bet.
We got to take a break for commercials. Don't hang up. I'm going to come right back to you.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield Tactical Bipods. AirOutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more, plus magful clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AirOutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AirOutfitting.com.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Here we're talking with Chris in Clearwater. And Chris, you need to understand the basic way vaccines work is that you will have a small sample of a pathogen, which in most cases is dead and cannot reproduce, and then it is mixed with what are called adjuvants, which are designed to accelerate the immunological response. However, some of these vaccines built around dead pathogens really don't work, and so they use what is called an attenuated pathogen here. And if you go to the story that we actually linked to whatreallyhappened.com here, WHO and UNICEF said that the polio outbreak in the Philippines is concerning because it's caused by vaccine-derived polio type 2. The weakened virus used in vaccines replicates for a short time in children's intestines and is excreted in their feces. Now, obviously, any pharmaceutical company is going to say, whatever goes wrong, it's your problem. You didn't take the right medicine, you didn't take whatever. But the fact of the matter is, and again, going back to this Government Slaves article here, more cases of polio are caused by polio vaccines than from wild polio. And right now in this country, where we're having this sweeping epidemic of what is being described as polio-like paralysis. But don't you dare call it polio. That literally came out. And when it first appeared, and they said, this looks like polio. And and they said, no. It's something else. It may look like polio, but trust us, it's not polio. Because can you imagine what would happen to the pharmaceutical industries if the American people, if the people of planet Earth began to realize how much harm is being caused by, bad chemistry?
Right.
I mean, and so polio vaccines are creating super polio strains that threaten humanity.
Yeah, absolutely. And the point is that when a germ is deemed to be eradicated, well, what point is there in continuing to vaccinate against it other than big pharma profits, especially when listed on the adverse reactions are death? When you look at the 6 different polio vaccines, 5 of them have death as one of the adverse reactions. And you can look up all the vaccine inserts at immunize.org/FDA. But the University of California admitted that polio vaccines cause most of the polio cases. A Baxter article, Baxter.com from April this year points that out. Another good article from vaccineimpact.com entitled "Polio Wasn't Vanquished, It Was Redefined." And according to Michelle Cotterman, she points out that polio is often diagnosed under various other names, which avoids the polio diagnosis. Names like acute flaccid paralysis, Guillain-Barré syndrome, transverse myelitis, acute disseminated encephalomyelitis, and acute flaccid myelitis, which is, she says, mostly the diagnosis
the new one
here in the U.S.
that's the new one. Okay, Chris, I got to let you go here. The music is playing. It's time for us to get on out of here. Please stay tuned for John Stadmiller. I'm sure he's got lots and lots of interesting things to share with you. Please spread the word of Republic Broadcasting. Please spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. We need to build our audience. We need to get more people in here learning the things they need to learn to be able to survive in this very crazy, chaotic world. So we'll see you tomorrow, and aloha, America.